Okay, hello grade 3s. I'd like to take a few minutes and just go over the division practice quiz that I gave you last week. So if you haven't done it yet, would you please make sure that you do it first and then come back and watch this video. And if you have done your homework, would you please go get it, pause the video, go get it and come back, because I want you to compare my answers with your answers. Okay, so pause the video and then come on back. Okay, I'm just going to focus on the word problems, but I want you to see my thinking behind how I answered them. And as I mentioned in class, it's not about just getting the answer. The answer is awesome, and if you can quickly get to the answer, that's great. But to get to a level 4 or even a level 3, you have to show me your thinking, how you got that answer, and then you also need to prove to me or justify that your answer is in fact correct, or at least reasonable, okay? So Mr. Lott won some concert tickets and he wants to give them to his friends. He won 20 tickets and he wants to divide them equally so that each of his friends gets the same number of tickets. If Mr. Lott has 5 friends, how many will each friend get? Draw a picture and write a division sentence. Okay, so here's how I answered it. I have 5 friends, so I drew 5 groups. I have 20 tickets, so I took those 20 tickets and I divided them equally between the 5 groups. Now I could have stopped there and said, well, the answer is 4. But I want to go a step further and show the teacher that I really understand what's going on. So I did another sentence, an addition sentence, or repeated addition, right, which is multiplying, to show that I understand, or I can prove that 4 plus 4 plus 4 plus 4 plus 4 equals 20 tickets. So this answer is in fact correct, so I've justified it. Then I wrote my division sentence, which is 20 divided into 5 equal groups would equal 4 in each group. And then I wrote the answer. Each friend would get 4 tickets. So I've shown how to divide them equally into 5 equal groups. So I showed the teacher I understand that there are 5 equal groups, that I divided the tickets equally. I proved my answer by adding them up to make sure I got 20. I wrote the division sentence correctly, and make sure you don't have 20 divided by 4, because that would be 4 friends. This is 5 friends. So 20 divided into 5 equal groups equals 4 in each group, and then I wrote the answer. And make sure that you write the answer. Let's look at the next one. Mr. Lott needs to buy erasers for his class. He bought a box of 25 erasers and he wants to share them equally. If there are 12 students in the class, how many erasers should Mr. Lott give each student? You don't need to write a division sentence for this, but draw a picture to show your thinking. Again, showing that your thinking is the most important thing. So I have 12 students. I'm going to divide 25 erasers to. So I'm going to draw 12 groups, because I have 12 friends. So you need to show me this. It's very important. So now you've shown the teacher you understand the concept of division, that I am dividing them equally between 12 groups. I then divided 25 erasers, and I was able to put 2 in each group equally, and then there was 1 left over at the end, right? And that's a remainder. So I proved it. I proved that I was correct, or justified it, by adding. And you can multiply 2 to prove. 2 plus 2 plus 2 plus 2 plus 2 plus 2 plus 2 all the way across 12 times equals 24. I wrote my division sentence, even though I didn't have to. Mr. Lott told me I didn't have to, but I'm gonna do it anyway. I'm gonna put 25 divided equally between 12 students would equal 2 for each student, but 1 is left over, remainder 1. And then I even wrote my multiplication sentence. So I showed Mr. Lott that I understand the relationship between multiplication and division. And then I wrote the answer. Mr. Lott would give each student 2 erasers. He would have 1 left over. 25 subtract the 24 that I gave out would equal 1. So this would be an example of a level 4. I showed the teacher that I understand the concept of division, and I showed how I grouped them equally. I proved or justified that this answer was in fact correct by repeated addition. I added them all up to make sure I had 24, just in case I didn't leave out a group. And I showed the multiplication sentence. So I showed the relationship between multiplication and division. I went a step further, and I actually wrote the division sentence to show Mr. Lott that I really get it. And then I wrote the answer, and I even explained why I have 1 left over. So this thinking is very important. Now, if you just wrote this, 25 divided by 12 equals 2, remainder 1, and you left everything else out, okay, you're not showing me understanding. I don't know if you guessed it, if you just kind of lucked out, do you really understand the concept of remainders? You haven't shown me your thinking though. You've given me the answer, you've shown me the knowledge, but you haven't shown me the thinking and the relationships between the two. Okay, look at the next one. You are having a birthday party and you are inviting 15 friends. You want to give each friend the same number of balloons. You went to the store and you bought 5 packages of balloons. Each package has 7 balloons. What is the maximum or largest number of balloons that you can give each friend? Use pictures and numbers to solve this problem. And make sure you read the question, the whole question. Make sure you understand everything, because this question has 2 parts to it. How many balloons did he buy? Then how is he going to divide them equally? So there's 2 parts to this question. So the first thing I need to know is how many balloons that you bought, because you bought 5 packages of 7. So 5 groups of 7, not 7 groups of 5. Make sure you wrote it correctly. 5 groups of 7 balloons equals 35 balloons. And then I wrote, I have 35 balloons. So this shows understanding. And then, again, I'm going to divide the 35 across 16 equal groups. Oh, sorry, 15. I apologize. My writing was messy. 15, right, multiplied by 2 would equal 30 balloons. 30 balloons. Okay? And then each friend can have 2 balloons. If you divide them equally, I would have 5 balloons left over. Then you could even write 35 subtract 30 equals 5. So when the teacher marks this, they understand, okay, this student understands that there's 15 equal groups. He divided them equally, so each group will get 2. He understands that there's going to be extra balloons, which are 5. He wrote the answer that each student gets 2, and he justified or proved it with multiplication. And you could write the division sentence too if you wanted. Not required, but you totally could have. That would get you even a higher mark. Okay, but it's showing the thinking, showing how you got there is the most important thing. Don't ever assume that the teacher just knows. You have to prove to the teacher that you understand the concepts. You have to put your thinking onto the paper to get the marks. Okay, teachers won't guess that you know it or guess you understand it. They need evidence. We need evidence that you understand it. Okay, Mr. Lott has 12 students in his class. He bought a package of pencils. The package has 50 pencils. How many pencils will each student get? So again, I'm dividing 50 pencils amongst 12 students. So I'm going to draw 12 equal groups. Now here's another way you could do it to save yourself time. You don't have to draw all the little X's. You can even put the quantity in each one, that's fine too. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 groupings. I put 4 in each group. So 12 groups multiplied by 4 would equal 48. So even though these are division questions, I understand, and I'm demonstrating to the teacher that I understand that I can actually solve division questions with multiplication because they are both related to one another, right? Multiplication is the opposite of division, but I can still arrive at the answer in a different way. Each student would get 4 pencils if Mr. Lott divided them equally with 12 students. So now the teacher understands that I understand that relationship, that I still divided them, but I proved that the answer was correct using multiplication. So I understand the relationship between the two. So you can get to division answers, or if you have a division problem, you can get to the answers using multiplication. That's fine, as long as you somewhere mention that you are still dividing, but this is how you got to the answer, if that makes sense. He would have 2 pencils left over, and I put 50 subtract 48 equals 2, how I got the 2. And then I did write my division sentence because I want that level 4. 50 pencils divided equally into 12 groups would equal 4 in each group with the remainder of 2. And I showed how I got the 2. 50 subtract the 48 equals 2. And then I showed the relationship to multiplication. I drew the groupings, that would be a level 4. Okay, if you just wrote this, just this with the answer, and you showed no thinking or no understanding behind the concepts, okay, your mark would be much lower, right? I'd even have difficulty giving you a B range, to be honest. You have some of it, you got the answer and you showed how you got it, but you haven't demonstrated the thinking behind it, the strategies, and the relationships. So it might even be like a C plus B minus, all right? It wouldn't be an A range. Will there be any left over? And then I've already answered that, so yes. And I showed how I got the answer, right? This is very important. I know it sounds simple, but don't assume that the teacher just thinks that you know it. Oh, Fred knows this, he doesn't need to show me that. You have to show me. You have to show me. I need evidence. Now the super challenge, one student got it right so far. A building has 84 stairs. There are 12 stairs between each floor. How many floors are there in the building? Show all your work. Now, a lot of kids were fast and they weren't thinking. This is the key word. You have to think it through. They just took 84, divided it by 12, and they gave me an answer. And I said, oh, there's, I believe, 7 floors. That's the answer, 7 floors. But they didn't think it through. They were too quick. You have to draw a picture. You have to draw a picture. So I started on the first floor. I went up 12 stairs, and that leads to the second floor. And then I drew another 12 stairs that leads to the third floor. And I kept going, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, right? But there's 8 floors, there's 8. So if you drew the picture, you would understand that you have to start at the first floor. And then you move up to the second floor after 12 steps. So if you look at all the floors at the end of the 12th set of stairs, or sorry, 7th set of stairs, you're gonna have the 8th floor. So I wrote my number sentence. So 12 plus 12 plus 12 plus 12 plus 12 plus 12 plus 12 equals 84. 7 groups of 12 equals 84 stairs. But then I showed through the picture, not through the numbers. The visual showed me there's actually 8 floors. So the answer comes from the actual picture that you draw, but it's how you draw the pictures. Some kids, they drew like a bar graph and they just put the numbers in between. But again, there was no thinking behind it. You have to think about how you're solving the problem. Okay, don't be fooled, or don't just think, well, it's 84 divided by 12. Right? You have to walk it through and think it through. Okay, so I hope that helps you. Whoops, that's my music. I hope that helps you understand. But again, I can't say enough that you have to show your thinking and you have to justify your answer. Don't assume that the teacher is going to think that you know. You need to give us, the teachers, evidence that you understand everything. Okay, that's the only way you're going to get a level 4. And I've had so many strong math students in this unit especially who should be getting A's and they got C's and B's because they refused. to put all their thinking down. As simple as it may sound to you, you have to provide the teacher with evidence that you understand the concepts, you're showing your thinking, and you're showing relationships between multiplication and division. So I hope that helps you understand. If you're striving for that level 4, this is what you need to do for me. Okay, this is what you need to do for all your teachers. Again, please don't just write the, no quick answers, right? It's not just about the answer, it's about the process of getting to the answer and showing the teacher how you're doing it step by step. And it's really hard. It's really hard, but as you move into grade 4 and grade 5 for the grade 4s, the expectation will get higher, that they're expecting to see that. Okay, so have a nice day or night, and we'll see you soon.